What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Respect the Craft podcast. This is episode number 19. I'm joined by the Full Faith Wrestling International Champion, the starving artist himself, Mike Magnum. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Thank you for coming on. This should definitely be a fun one here. We have lots to talk about, not only talking about yourself, but also the amazing event that's coming up this Saturday for Full Faith Wrestling.
Yeah, thank you. It's going to be fun.
Awesome, definitely. So I gotta say again, welcome to the show. Thank you so much. I gotta ask again, the show's name is Respect the Craft. So when you hear that term, when you hear the craft, what does that mean for you?
Oh, I love that. I think it reminds me of kind of the entire, I guess, for lack of a better term, persona. Because I say that because it's not really a persona; it's who I am. But the whole starving artist thing, I mean, it's a craft, it's an art form, and I love the name. I think that's great. It reminds me of the fact that after all, at the end of the day, strip everything away. It's an art form. It's our craft. It's our outlet. It's our emotional outlet, our creative release, and all those things. So I think calling it Respect the Craft is awesome. It reminds me a lot of what I do.
No, thank you so much. And definitely that's why I wanted to, when I was thinking of a name for the podcast, I was thinking my best way to honor that, because I do respect this craft, because I'm also not only doing this, but I am training at the moment.
Okay,
so I wanted to devote this to something that's, again, showing that respect not only for those that are currently doing it, but for those that have paved our way as well, because there are a lot of great talent that have done that. So I had to ask, that was another question I had for you, was that name, the Starving Artist. Where did that come from to be able to create this persona of yours as well?
Well, sure. I mean, it really was just, it's how I've felt, I mean, even since I've started, it's just something that didn't really click to me to use it as kind of a moniker and turn the volume up on who I really am until when the pandemic hit, and, I was watching everybody kind of just, talk about the same things that we were thinking, how we just missed, getting out there and wrestling, and missed the locker room, the camaraderie, the audience, and everything else. And it was my wife who was kind of like, man, it's like a bunch of starving artists, missing their canvas, and it's true, and that's where it kind of clicked. And I said, that's a starving artist is what I've been, sometimes literally. I mean, thankfully not anymore, but there was a while where that was a literal thing. But I mean, I starve every time I'm not doing something wrestling related. There's something, whether it's in my mind or whatever, that's like, oh man, I'd love to see this happen or do that, or I'm watching someone wrestle, go, man, I'd love to put that together with that person, or I'd love to work with that guy, or cut a promo with this person, or whatever. So there's always something going up there, and then the creativity is always flowing. And it's just like they say, when the butterflies before you go out, if either of those two things go away, that's when you got to wonder if you're still cut to be doing it. But for me, it was just, it's who I am. And I've always loved, professional wrestling. I've always loved, every aspect of it. And to me, it is a creative release. And it's just, all these years I've been, Mike Magnum, but it was just about throwing that extra piece of who I am into it that, has helped me to, by the grace of God, see so much, added opportunities, which has been really awesome.
No, definitely. And I love that name too, because it is something, especially when I'm doing these podcasts and I'm talking about events and trying to describe how, again, the mentalities are, I always use that word, that hunger. So hearing that and hearing that name, it's like, it makes sense, because that's why usually when you're in that competitive nature, you have that hunger to create your craft and do better in your craft. And especially when you're going into a matchup, you have that hunger. So calling yourself the starving artist, it makes sense. It really does incorporate everything that we do here. So
thank you, man. Yeah, and that's what it is. I mean, it's always been, and I've done, for 7-8 years, all the behind the scenes stuff with WWE, and never really got that platform until AEW came along. But and then when you do it, it's the hunger never goes away.
Yeah.
And I always say, whether it's a promo or real life, I mean, my kids eat good, so the starving part thankfully isn't there.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be, that hunger for that outlet and that canvas, and and that too, and artists, in general speak, they speak through their craft, they speak
Yep.
through their art form. And, where I could go on and cut a promo for days, actions speak louder than words with me in real life. So why not apply that to my character? Anybody who knows, you say you're training yourself. So, you know, that canvas will expose you for who you are and what you got real quick. So, I mean, just go look at what I do in the ring, and that'll speak for who I am, as a character or whatever. And the same goes for real life. And you'll learn as you continue on your path that the most successful characters are the ones that are just an extension of yourself. So
Definitely.
especially in now, today's wrestling world with everything on social media and everything else, it's you know, you be who you are, be real, and just the rest will come.
Definitely. And I feel that's kind of the era we're in right now. It's most of the reality era. Everyone is trying to be in a sense themselves because everything is kind of out there. Not to say that there's certain things unless you're in it you would truly understand, but it's also the fact of just a lot of it's out there because again, it's more that sense of we have to be who we are because it comes out either way. Especially
Yeah,
when you're that devoted to your craft, you kind of want to have that perfect mix there. So
sure. Yep.
again, creating something like this, it's good because you are showing this is who you are. Again, it's that starving artist. It's having that hunger. Again, maybe that starving part is in a different degree now, thank God as well. But also just to the fact of when it comes to that ring now, it's that hunger to get in there. So perfect segue because you did mention as well the AEW environment as well. Let's talk a little bit about that because I can imagine that just struck that hunger even more, getting to have those opportunities, be it with Elevation, with Dark, and also even getting this segment as of recently when we were getting to the road for Revolution. You're in there with an NYC legend right there, the tri-state
Yeah.
legend himself, with
Yeah.
Eddie Kingston. How was that? How was that environment for you, and how did that feel to get to be involved with legends like that?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, I was during the Daly's Place era. I was on Dynamite also with Miro, socked Miro in the side of the face. But those things are always just, it's a privilege. I mean, I've done the Raws and SmackDowns and
Yeah,
just, being in the background somewhere, but it meant a lot more for AEW. And I don't just say that, in hopes that somebody there's listening, but it's the truth. Because they gave me a platform to get in the ring and be a wrestler too, and,
yeah,
and I never got that. Yeah, I got to wrestle at the Performance Center. I had a tryout in 2015, and, it was the last one before Dusty had passed away a week later, and I got to do those things and get in the ring before the show, before SmackDowns and stuff, and wrestle in front of the agents and Triple H and all that. But I never got the opportunity to get into the ring and be a wrestler and show what I had like that until AEW. But what made that segment with Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho so special is, I mean, Chris Jericho's Chris Jericho and Eddie Kingston's Eddie Kingston and Miro's Miro. I mean, not to take away from that, he's one of my favorite wrestlers in the world. But Chris Jericho, when I went to my first wrestling show as a kid, it was a Monday Night Raw at the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island, and he wrestled. I remember the day. It was May 8th, 2000. He wrestled 3 matches that night. He wrestled the Big Show, he wrestled Kurt Angle, and he wrestled Chris Benoit in the main event. And that obviously stuck out to me for so many reasons, being it was my first show, and somebody doing that was just an incredible feat of athleticism and conditioning. And he was one of my favorites growing up. So to be able to be in the ring with him on television was out of control, and he's just such a great person, as is Eddie Kingston, and to be able to have the opportunity to have that little moment with Eddie Kingston like that, and to be standing right there with Jericho, and that was the first time in my 16 years, just to show you that everybody's path in this game is different. That was the first time in 16 years that I was ever afforded the opportunity to be in the ring in front of a full packed out arena like that.
yeah.
So, I mean, it just goes to show you what AEW is all about, the opportunities and the fact that they just love professional wrestling and professional wrestlers, and not just sports entertainers or, these, athletes that have been doing it since middle school. They care about everybody and everybody getting that shot and spotlight. And it means a lot, it meant so much to me. I say all the time, it was like when I have the matches with AEW or even when I had my first one, and, just to be able to sit there, it was amazing and such a blessing to sit there with my wife and my kids and be like, hey guys, look, I did it. I'm there. I did it. But outside of that, I mean, I got started because I made a promise to the little kid in me that fell in love with wrestling, freaking however many years ago now. And so to be able to kind of sit there and look at him next to me and be like, hey, buddy, look, I kept my promise. We did it. We made it. We're doing it. So, it means a lot. It's hard to put stuff like that into words. It's an emotion that you can't really explain. You just have to kind of feel it.
No, definitely. And I feel like that's the biggest thing too. And I feel like that's something, especially when you have that love for this, we're all trying to get there. We're trying to make sure we keep that because we were all that kid at one point that decided, hey, we were watching this and just it clicked right there. That's like, you know what? I want to do this. Because I've said
Yep.
the story as well a lot of times on the podcast here. I think I want to say I was like 3 years old watching this, watching wrestling, and just it all fell in love. And
Mm.
now years later, I've been lucky to have the opportunities I've had in the business outside of this, and now with this podcast as well. So it always is. It's something to have that little kid inside be like, you know what, we're on the right track. It's that path that we wanted to do.
Mhm.
So that is amazing to get to see you do those opportunities. And again, the
Thank you.
opportunities that are to come as well, because I've seen that AEW is definitely pick those that are devoted and show, hey, they really want to do this as well.
Yeah,
So that's
definitely.
always great. So we do have some people in the chat as well, some comments. We have Scarecrow in there saying, "Woo, he's loving what you're saying right here."
Yeah,
So
Scarecrow. What's up, man? Scarecrow's the man. You got to check him out. Go throw him a
definitely,
follow.
definitely Scarecrow's. I'm looking forward to see what he does Saturday. Again, we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. So he has some plans from what I'm seeing here.
Oh
So that
yeah,
should be fun.
yeah. Got to watch
So
out for him.
definitely. So before we do get into Saturday, we have to talk a little bit again with all that AEW stuff as well. I noticed from the last show, you got into a little bit of a business agreement here, maybe for some advisement with a certain legendary advisor when it comes to professional wrestling. So again, I'm going to show the graphic here. When it came to Freedom, it was announced the legendary Vicky Guerrero was going to be in the building. So from there, I was wondering who would she take under her wing? Who was she going to be able to manage and give, again, some amazing knowledge? When that night came, everyone saw it was you that she took under her wing. So how did that come into fruition there? How did the
Well,
legendary Vicky choose you?
I think talent recognizes talent, and real recognizes real, and I think she just. I don't want to put words in her mouth, but I think she just saw maybe everything I just kind of said to you radiating off of me because I do the best I can to live by that. And outside of that, I think she saw whatever it is that she may have seen in me, whether it was, I don't know. I don't want to put words in her mouth, but I know that she saw in me exactly what somebody the caliber of a Vicky Guerrero would see in somebody. And and I'm very honored and humbled to say that she decided that I was the one that she was going to put her name on. And to this day and going forward, she is on my side and, in my corner, and she will be my, whatever you want to call it, manager, advocate, associate, advisor. She is, and a wealth of knowledge, to that, obviously. And I have more than all the respect in the world for Vicky. And sometimes I got to remind myself that this is real, because the fact that I'm even saying that and you're saying that even happened doesn't make sense to me sometimes. And it's just another one of those things where I look over to the little kid in me and be like, hey man, check this out. I mean, Eddie Guerrero, like so many, was my, biggest one of, if not the biggest, inspiration. I mean, my two finishing moves are a brainbuster and a frog splash, I mean, so, right. I mean, that's, and I was fortunate enough to get her blessing to wear, I had some Eddie Guerrero inspired gear that I wore that night, and, had her blessing to wear it. And, it was really cool. It was a dream come true, just as much as any WWE, AEW, or anything else I've ever done, or any opportunities I've ever had. That was right up there. It's probably the top, and it's not over. This show, there was a scheduling conflict, and that those things happen. But doesn't mean anything. You know, she gave me a lot of good advice, a lot of good wisdom, and she'll be there, in her words and her knowledge and wisdom that she shared. Um, and the next event, hopefully, we'll be able to, work out the scheduling stuff and have her back. But any event she's able to make, that is my, like I said, manager, however you want to put it. Vicky will be, in my corner anytime I wrestle with Full Faith Wrestling.
No, definitely. And I feel like that's even just having her stamp of approval there. That is
It's
more than enough because that, again, that should also put some fear in your opponents because you have, again, when you hear that name Guerrero behind you,
yeah,
that's something there. That's
yeah.
big enough. And then again, Vicky has that just, again, so much knowledge to pass down that I can imagine you're taking all that and just, again, I don't know if your opponents are ready for that on Saturday. Again, you're
I,
coming with all the plans. She even for this show, again, she won't be able to be there in person, but she gave you that knowledge when you guys were together in the last few weeks. So
yeah.
again, sending that message to your opponents. So if I'm Marty Flames or Pancakes, I'm looking at this like he's got a Guerrero behind them. Like this.
Well, too. I appreciate that. But I
Yep.
said it. I said it before, and I have no problem saying it. And I think that they may want to dispute it. They may want to cut a little promo arguing it, but the fact is what it is. We all came up together. Marty and I have known each other since middle school, and Pancakes and Marty and I all started training at the same school at the same time. So we've known each other for 16 years. We've traveled together. We've done more shows than we'll ever be able to count together. Um, and I just think it's so appropriate that the name of this show is called Walk the Walk, because when you really look at the three of us all coming up at the same time, I'm the one on this podcast. I'm the one that's talking about my AEW matches. I'm the one that we're talking about my WWE, extra work appearances and this and that. And we're not talking about Marty Flames' WWE work appearance. We're not talking about Marty Flames' AEW matches. We're not talking about Pancakes' AEW matches or WWE appearances. They're not defending their title. I'm defending mine. So when it comes to walking the walk after all these years, I'm going to do that walk just like I have done for the last 16 years while they're in my shadow. And I'll walk in as champion and I'll walk back out as champion, because at the end of the day, we go back to what we were just talking about. Vicky Guerrero came to that show. She could have chose anybody. She chose me.
There you go. And again, guys, we're talking about this matchup right here as going to be for that international championship. That's going to be one to look out for. This is going to be a matchup I'm definitely looking forward to because again, right there, you're telling that story, and it's a great one to see. And again, it has so much. Not only again, we're talking 16 years almost in the making here.
Yeah, we've never
So that,
shared the ring together in 16 years. We've
oh,
had
that's
singles
insane.
matches and things like that, but the
Yeah.
three of us have never been in the ring at the same time ever.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's insane right there. Because that's usually, I think that's a lot of times how it goes. You hear the history of again guys that have been training partners and stuff like that. It's always like, oh yeah, we've had hundreds of matches, and then to hear this is the first time all three of you are going to get to share it. It's something special, and I feel like that's going to be the best thing for those that are going this weekend to the Sportatorium. So
Thank
definitely
you.
check that out and enjoy, guys. So let's get into it though, because there's a lot to talk about. So again, we already talked about you're going to be there. You're defending that championship again. You're starving to get back in that ring and show why you are the starving artist. Let's keep it going here as well. Again, guys, also make sure you're getting your VIP packages so you get the meet and greet. Because again, there's a star-studded lineup. Again, you have the man himself here. The starving artist is going to be there. You have Pancakes. You have a man that's looking to change everyone a little bit because he's life-changing in Joe Ocasio, formerly known as Jack Gallo. You got Cesar Baroni, one half of the FFW Tag Team Champions. You have a Hall of Fame caliber competitor in Glacier. And then you also have a guy I know very well, one of my best friends, recently as well featured on AEW Dark Elevation, in Anthony Gango. So that's always great. So now let's start going into these matches here. Because we're going to start up with the light heavyweight invitational here for the light heavyweight championship, as Jaden Valo's defending once again here against a great list here of opponents, including Johnny Malloy, who's been talking a little bit about what again this matchup means to him, and he's almost ever changing with his thoughts and his thought process going into a matchup like this.
I think what makes Johnny Malloy so dangerous,
Yeah.
besides the obvious things, is that he was willing to jump weight classes so drastically in a short amount of time. I mean, he's a dangerous competitor, and I've fought him many times. But you know, I don't envy those guys. You know, I don't know where he's at with the weight loss. I'm sure that he's getting close, but I'm sure there'll be a weigh-in that night. Uh, I do know too that Rad Brad Benson had who was on that flyer as well. He just this morning had to pull out. Unfortunately, he had something come up, and he's not able to be there. So there's one less competitor, but you know, you got some guys in there too that have been doing this a while. I mean, every show starts off with Full Faith with the light heavyweight invitational, which if you're not familiar with what that is, it's basically if you have, you know, the network or whatever, go on and watch WrestleMania 20. They did a cruiserweight invitational where guys were around the ring, two guys started, and then people started sliding in once somebody was eliminated. That's what that type of match is. And what they do is the champion starts every time. There's no champion's advantage. The champion actually has to start to finish if they're going to complete it.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have Malloy coming in, and he's unpredictable as it is, and the fact that he decided to just out of nowhere drop a couple weight classes and go after that belt is you know, it's respectable, and I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen there. But I mean, I think the wild card is definitely Malloy, and that's not taking anything away from Jaden Vallow or anybody else in that match. Joey Conway, you know, the newcomer there, Sage Chance, who I actually trained. You know, there's a lot of good talent. There's a lot of people in there. I just, you know, Malloy sticks out to me, being that it's just such a name you wouldn't expect to be in a light heavyweight match.
No, definitely. When I saw the flyer and I was like, wait, Johnny Malloy's in this. Because last time I was seeing, he was a part of that tag division as well with a man we mentioned earlier with Anthony Gangone. And I've seen what he's done, again, even in singles competition. So seeing him now in this, I'm like, okay, he's testing his limits here. Again, maybe that we're talking about that hunger in this business.
Yeah.
Maybe he has that hunger to change it up and show that he's not just a one-trick pony. He can do multiple things if it's across multiple divisions as well.
Yeah, all the respect in the world for that. I'm looking forward to watching for sure.
Definitely. That's going to be one to see. But also, let's go now into, again, they talked about that tag division. We're going to two teams here again, no strangers to that NYWC arena there, as you have the Bateri against the Audacity here. Especially when you talk about them, they've been sharing that AEW light as well, getting featured on Dark, getting featured on Elevation. It's a team that definitely has some history. And then the Audacity, they've been a part of that revelation almost with Scarecrow, and they have that aggressive side to them. So putting these two teams together, I don't know if the Sport Term's gonna be able to hold it this Saturday.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think that's true. It's a good way to put it. The Audacity, I have a ton of respect for those guys. I think they're phenomenal athletes, and they've chosen to align themselves with Scarecrow and Omen. And I know that Scarecrow is kind of just randomly shown up in Full Faith, but not just, you know, super random. I mean, he showed up and he started collecting a faction, and like right off the bat, he attacked Jaden Vallow. I mean, they're a very unpredictable team as well. Just like, you know, we were talking about Malloy being unpredictable, and I think that unpredictability and almost like having nothing to lose type of attitude that they all have together makes for a dangerous team. And I know I'm sure there'll be wild cards out there unless the referees decide to kick them out. Scarecrow and Omen, I'm sure, will be, you know, a big factor in that match, but you can't rule out the Bateri. I mean, they've been doing this for longer than I have, both of those guys. And I have, again, all the respect in the world for them. They're tough as nails and they're intimidating as heck, man. I mean, they're not they're real deal dudes. So, I mean, they're not ones to look over either. So going to be a good match. And whoever wins that is number one contenders to the Full Faith Wrestling Tag Team titles.
Ooh.
So yeah, I mean, there's a big opportunity there for sure.
No, definitely. And that's something, again, both are coming with deserving an opportunity like this. Because again, like you said, Bateri have that tenure already. Like I said, They're definitely no stranger to this arena as well. They've been a part of with NYWC and all that as well. And then again, the Audacity have that rough edge around them. And it's crazy. We mentioned that as well. They've been attacking everyone and even attacking Jaden Vallow. Now that you mentioned earlier about that open spot, now that made me think about what if Scarecrow decides, hey, maybe he wants to get involved. in that light heavyweight invitational earlier in the night.
Yeah, you never know, man. There's been a lot of full faith wrestling. You never really know what to expect. A lot of people, just as a company as a whole, but yeah, I mean Scarecrow too. But company as a whole, full faith wrestling is we've always prided ourselves on not just being a ministry, but the ministry comes first, but the wrestling is very important, and I take it seriously. I mean, it's what I felt like I was called to do with my life. So the wrestling is there, the entertainment's going to be there, and it's we don't and again, there's nothing wrong with it, but we don't just put matches together. We have good matches that are put together, but it's also stories and things to get involved in, and questions to questions throughout the night, questions to leave off on for next time. So it's fun. I love being a part of it, because what goes on is not just the matches, which again is phenomenal, but there's stories to be told. There's things to get invested in, and it's fun for any age. So, I mean, just to have the questions and things to talk about going into the show, I think is something that makes it so special.
Yeah, and that's what you want. Like I always say especially when I do my other podcast, the Indie Perspective, I love when I talk about shows and when I break down cards and I'm able to have those questions of, again, it leads to the expected unexpected.
Right.
Because you never want a show to just be like, okay, yeah, we can see this guy's probably going to win. This is going here like that.
Yeah.
You love when there's, again, it leaves those openings that's like, again, you start to think, oh, could this happen? Could that happen? And it gives you that motivation to want to go and have to find out what's going to happen next.
Right.
Because that's what you want from a fan perspective as well. You want to be able to be like, I want more, so now I have to come back to the next show. Exactly. I can't miss this, because then it's just like, oh, I need to know what happens. It's leaving that hunger for the fan perspective as well. So that's always great.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always leaving them wanting some more. So again, let's keep it going here. We got more to talk about to give them that hunger to come in, as now it's a singles matchup here. I know, again, both of these guys very well, because with Rex Lawless, again, if you're in that tri-state area, you definitely know this man that's been he's a tower of a man too. He's not by any stretch a small man. With Rex Lawless, I've heard here, he has himself a guaranteed championship opportunity.
Yes, that's correct.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's a scary thing for a man that size to be like, hey, I have a guaranteed shot at the heavyweight championship.
Yeah, that's true. And so what happened was he won that contract, but he stole the belt after the show. So that, to answer a question, I'm sure we're going to cover on it, but that's why Joey Silver and Gangone are going after the belt, that's been vacated. Matt Stryker was our champion, but he's looking to take a little, break from everything. So, he respectfully knows the belt deserves to be defended. So those were the picks. And after what, Rex had done, he could cash that contract in whenever he wants, but there needs to be a set champion first, because, and respect to Orlando, who's our general manager, it was his decision to say, and that's not just an on-screen thing. I mean, he does, call a lot of the shots, and we give him that respect. And he just said, it's not, we can't reward stuff like that. So, I respect that. So, but listen, this match with Elijah Eden, and Elijah's a phenomenal competitor, and he showed a lot of great things in his debut last show with us, and I think it's cool that he's getting an opportunity to kind of step out of the light heavyweight thing and have this match with Rex to show what he can do in a singles match, and to show that doesn't matter underdog or not. I mean, there's fight to be had. So I mean, I'm looking forward to that. I think. I wouldn't sleep on Elijah Eden, although Rex is a tower of a man.
No, definitely. And again, like I said, I know these two very well, because not only have I gotten to see Rex in the past, but with Elijah, I've gotten to see his training a bit. I was there for one of his first days in training and gotten to see what he's become. And he's also under the wing of another of my friends in Smiley, and seeing him step out here alone in this one, I want to see, is he going to be ready for, again, a tower like that? Again, it's always that great story of David versus Goliath. You're going to love to see how he foes here. He's also stepping out of that light heavyweight division. So that's great to see. Yeah. Maybe he shows his impact and shows, hey, you might be a guy that has a guaranteed championship shot, but whenever you do hold that title, you might have to owe me one. True. So again, it's adding those questions. That's what you love to see. Yeah. You never know.
Yeah.
So let's keep it going here as well. Because, we talked about it earlier, but let's show the graphic again about the revelation coming this Saturday. Again, Scarecrow, he was in the chat earlier. I can imagine he didn't want to say too much because he wants to leave it for the crowd this Saturday.
Mhm.
So, and also, again, we don't know what it could be that he's bringing. Could it be a message? Could it be a physical message as well?
Could it be
He's
another
tough.
member? I mean, who knows,
Yeah,
right? I mean, I don't know. Scarecrow's very unpredictable,
yeah,
and he on occasion sends a few cryptic messages and things like that, and I don't really have any clue what's going on, but I know that anybody who has that kind of mentality and who's coming into a company and aligning themselves with Omen, who has been nothing but someone who just talks about burning Full Faith Wrestling to the ground, and
yeah,
that's the first person you align yourself with. I mean, I don't know what to think when it comes to them. My first match back after an injury that I thought was going to I if anybody would ask me then, I knew for a fact I was done wrestling.
yeah,
And to be able to come back, and I stepped in the ring with Omen, and was able to take him down, but it was not without a fight. They're dangerous people, and look, I know this is professional wrestling, but these guys are dangerous people, and when they're unpredictable and dangerous, you know, you never know what could happen. Especially when you're coming in and trying to build like a flock. You know what I mean, and really get like a lot of guys in your corner and on your side. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. And Full Faith is based on faith, right? I mean, so to see guys coming in and looking to tear that down, and Scarecrow being the leader of that, who knows? You know what I mean? He's only been there one show. I don't know what he can have up his sleeve or what he's looking to do. Again, they have, there's an open spot in the light heavyweight tournament. Is he going to take that? Like you said, the Audacity have a big match. Are they going to, I don't know, maybe give them a tainted victory? Or are they going
yeah.
to, I don't
It's
know. It's,
no, and
it's tough.
it has to be something tough not only for you but also for management as well to think, can they control this team here and this faction? And like you said, who knows? They could be even adding even more to this fire here, adding another
Yeah.
member. Could they be looking to again mess up the whole night? They could say, "Hey, we do walk the walk, and we're gonna just make it ours."
Yeah. And I
As
mean,
a champion, I can imagine you have to have your eyes behind your back on Saturday as well, not only for your two opponents, but also could they try to get involved with you?
I
Like you
wouldn't
said,
be
you faced the
surprised.
Omen in the past,
Yeah,
so
I don't know, man. You're right. I don't know. I don't want to speculate, and I don't want to, look. Not that I fear anybody, but I got enough on my plate. I don't want to poke at them because
no,
I got enough going on.
no, definitely. And again, I'm not trying to lead to anything. So again, if Scarecrow's watching, we mean no harm. I mean no harm as well. We don't need the
I mean a little bit of harm, but don't get involved in my match, please. We'll talk
definitely.
about that later.
There you go. So again, well, let's keep it going. Again, we're talking more tag team because now we're talking the tag team
Oh
titles
yeah,
here. So this is
yep.
something I've been looking forward to because we have two teams here, great tag team. And again, if you're in the tri-state area, you've definitely seen these guys. A lot of history here with Milk Chocolate, Randy Summers, Brandon Watts. They've been on a tear as of late, finally reuniting after a few years off, back together again. And then you have a team that again Joe Ocasio promised. He told Cesar Baroni that he was going to give him those championships. He was going to get them the gold himself the gold, and they did that at that last show. And now they're coming in defending those FFW tag team championships. And this is going to be a tough one here because again, Milk Chocolate is no slouch of a team, but you're adding again the juggernaut of the wingmen here and Joe Ocasio. This is going to be an interesting pairing of these two teams here.
I agree, and I mean, Cesar Bonone. I mean, just looking at that guy, I mean, he's just his look, his size, his presence speaks for
Yep,
itself.
definitely.
And I mean, and on the flip side, Joe Ocasio as well, but also the fact that Joe was able to, I don't know how or what, but the fact that he was able to convince Caesar to, Joe was legitimately hurt during that match. He had just gotten out of bicep surgery only a few days before that.
Yep.
So for him to be able to convince Caesar to do all that heavy lifting and, do the majority of the work, but, give him one of those tag team titles essentially because he really just kind of gave it to him.
Yeah,
It speaks to what the credit of whatever Joe's got going on that's so life changing. But I mean, look, Milk Chocolate is. I mean, you couldn't have said it better. I mean, Milk Chocolate is. I mean, come on, right? I mean, their talent speaks for itself. Their
definitely.
tenure speaks for itself. The matches they have speaks for themselves. It's not gonna be a cakewalk. Not that what they did last time was because they had to beat the former tag team champions to even earn. And what happened with them, if you're not familiar or anybody who might not be, they had that match with Johnny Malloy and Anthony Gangone, who were the former tag team
Yeah,
champions, and they also won a contract like Rex Lawless did for the world title, but it was a Full Faith Wrestling tag team title contract. And
gotcha.
what they did was the Audacity faced the then tag team champions, the Elements. They beat them, and then the decision had gotten reversed. Some crazy stuff went on. The match restarted. The Elements retained, and then Joe and Caesar walked out, cashed in the contracts right on the spot, same night, and just picked up the pieces. So, I mean, this is the first time they're really, going to be on the same page, defending the titles, both healthy, and we're going to see what's really going on. You know what I mean? Are they really this legitimate tag team? Are they
Yeah.
really, or did Joe just kind of manipulate and brainwash Caesar for a night? And the experienced tag team and Milk Chocolate's going to just walk in and expose exactly what they are, or are they going to be something that we haven't seen?
That's also what I was gonna say. That's also scary to think. Caesar was kind of doing all the heavy lifting that night. Imagine now you're adding a fresh and healthy Joe Ocasio.
An angry Joe Ocasio.
Like that's always a thing too.
Yeah.
And again, he's trying to almost convince Full Fave as well that he is life changing. So I can imagine he's trying to show, hey, look what I've done for Caesar, what I'm going to continue to do. Yeah. So I can imagine he's not looking to lose those championships either, and make sure that he continues to convince and have others join this life-changing movement that he's doing here.
Yeah.
So
who knows,
again,
man?
he is a great competitor. So at full capacity, again, Milk Chocolate has their hands full, but I know they're looking to add some gold back to their long listed resume.
There's a lot of questions, man. A lot of
Definitely.
questions,
Definitely.
Yeah.
But let's keep it going here, because now we're going to talk about, again, we mentioned it earlier, that heavyweight championship on the line. We're looking to crown a new champion. Like you said, unfortunately, former champion Matt Striker had to relinquish the championship as he has taken a little bit of a sabbatical. But we have two of the top going at it for this championship, as you have Joey Sweet Cheek Silver here going head to head with the now known as Dr. Sleep, Anthony Gangone. Anthony Gangone's going a little more roguish again. He's going a little more violent. He wants to bring a different side to professional wrestling. So I know when it comes to now winning some heavyweight gold, he's definitely going to bring it all to Joey Silver. These two, no strangers to each other. They definitely know each other from the past. So I can imagine they're going to bring the best out of each other. So this is going to be a nice contrast, though. You have Joey Silver, who's all about that fun. He wants to be Sweet Cheeks. He loves giving out the candy. He loves doing all that. But then you have Anthony Gangone, who's a little more of that almost like mind games competitor. So I'm looking forward to this. I know both of them very well. Anthony Gangone, a great friend of mine. So I'm looking forward to see how this match is going to go. How are your thoughts on this, Mike?
I'm looking forward to it, man. I mean, I have all the respect in the world for both of those guys. And Joey, I mean, it took me having to, essentially brainbuster him through a table off the second rope to finally put him down and retain the title, my title. So, I mean, I could see why they decided to elevate him and to give him that opportunity. Anthony Gangone on screen, we don't have the best history. It's pretty clear that he attacked me back in the day when I was injured and was looking to come back, and he kind of cemented that injury for a few months. And he admitted to it and bragged about it. So there's that. But Anthony Gangone is I have nothing but respect for his work, whatever whether it be promo work, whether it be character work, whether it be in-ring work. So I mean, it's going to be, again, another. It's hard. I keep saying that. I feel like the same thing about every match, but I mean, hey, that's a good problem to have. I mean, it's just another match where two guys that are hot right now, that are both have something to prove, to each other. This is the first time they've been in the ring with each other, as far as I know, and it's for the heavyweight championship, our top title. I mean, it's going to be a fight, and it's going to be entertaining, and it's going to be with Joey doing his thing and Anthony playing his mind games. It's man, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, this is definitely This is actually the first time in singles competition. So
Okay.
that's even more. Adding that element of a first time ever, again, it adds something to it. Because again,
And
you're
being
trying
for
to,
the title too. It's
yeah,
a big, big
that's insane
platform.
right there.
Yeah, big
And again,
pressure.
it's also the main championship. When you talk about a heavyweight championship, it's almost that cornerstone of a company. When you get
Right.
to prove yourself and again be at that top spot. And again, that's also possibly again not trying to defend him just because he's my friend. That's also probably why he decided to injure you just a little bit more because he knows, hey, you're also gunning to be at that top spot.
Sure.
So trying to
Yeah.
take you out of that game of it. So
Look,
again,
I'm
not
looking.
defending,
No, no,
just
I get it. And listen, I get it. I mean, if I was in his shoes, I probably would have done the same thing.
no,
But there's still that I didn't forget about it. You know what I
no.
mean? There's still that thing in the back of my head. But um, yeah, listen, it's it's very rare for me to be so excited about, maybe a couple matches here that every single match on this show I feel like is whether it's the story or it's the match, the competitors. There's just so much exciting stuff going into this show, man. And this is one that I think has and again, this is from somebody who's going to be on the show as well and defending my title. I think this has the full potential. They all do, but this has the full potential to steal the show.
No, and definitely, I feel that that's showing again, even for yourself to be selfless here and be able to say a match like that can steal the show.
I think
Which
every
again,
match
we've
does, but
yeah,
these guys absolutely, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
but definitely we saved the best for last here because we have to talk about your match as well. We have to talk about a little more when we're going into now this triple threat matchup for that Full Favor Wrestling International Championship here. As again, you'll be defending against Pancakes and Marty Flame. So again, this matchup is it's already insane to see the three-way element, but also with Marty Flames, you have that juggernaut of Rex Lawless in his corner.
Yeah.
So, and again, you're adding that history, like you told us earlier. It's 16 years in the making. The first time all three of you guys are getting to step into that squared circle together, that has to add so much more than just it being another match. And also, you're adding the element of it's a championship match. So I can
Yeah.
imagine there's a lot going through your head. Talk us through that. How are you getting ready for a matchup like this? What's the mindset going for Saturday? Well, now give us everything as well, because I know you want to leave something that your opponents aren't, if they're listening, they don't know everything, but just
Well,
a little bit of.
I think that's the big issue is that they're probably not listening, and I think that's their problem. Um, I it's tough because going into this, I've never had opponents that knew me as long as them. Unless it was a match I had again. Yeah, I've had singles matches with them before. So I mean, they're the two people in the business that would know me the best in the ring. Um, it's been a while since any of us have gotten in there together against each other. Marty and I were a tag team for a long time too, so there's a lot of having to change things up on my end because he kind of knows he knows me well. He knows me well as a person. He knows me well as a competitor, and Pancakes also. But like I said earlier, I mean, look, I could talk about everything I've done. I could put myself over like crazy, and I don't want to do that because I at the end of the day, I what it boils down to is the name of the show. I just keep going back to that because we could know each other as long, have the equal amount of experience, all that, but what it comes down to at the end of the day is walking that walk, and I've done that better than they have. I've done that better than they have when we were training. I've done that better than they have when we were going up and down the roads together. Every show I stole the show, and they were either curtain jerking or somewhere mixed in the card, and I was the main event every single time. So, and that's not me being arrogant. That's just the truth. Go back, go on YouTube and look. Any match you see the three of us, any show you see the three of us on, I was the main event. So when it comes to walking the walk, I've just done it better. And it's not me being, cocky or arrogant. It's just the truth, and from an independent wrestling standpoint and from a professional wrestling standpoint, from a career. I mean, I've done what I've done. I've had matches that will forever live in AEW history. I've been on, Raws and SmackDowns in whatever capacity it may be that, their grandkids will be able to watch on Peacock. You know what I'm saying? There's really, when it comes to walking the walk, there's no comparison. So, I mean, when it boils down to it, at the end of the day, you could erase all of that. If you go back to October's show, like we said before, Vicky walked in there and she saw everybody on that card, every single person on that card. And she decided I was the one she was going to represent. I was the one she was going to put that Guerrero name next to, not anybody else. So, I mean, like I said, I hate to keep saying it, but you walk the walk. That's it. I embody that when it comes to this match and us three. I embody that. So, I mean, that's it. It speaks for itself.
There you go. And again, just hearing those words, you're showing again that hunger. You're showing why you are the starving artist, because you have that hunger to show that again, you can walk the walk, and you've been doing it for, again, 16. Is this 16 years now?
It'll be 16 years in April. Yeah.
Oof. And again, that's already just saying that that's something, again, congratulations on that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Again, with a business like this, hearing numbers like that, it's always insane to hear, because sadly, it isn't the most giving business. Sadly, it is something that it isn't for the fate of heart, because it is a lot to your body. Again, as someone that is training at the moment, I definitely know there's some nights that it's like, yeah, this is still bothering me. And doing it 16 years, I can imagine there's a lot more than just a few nights that's like, but moments like this, again, having those AEW moments, having those WWE moments, and having matches like this, it's rewarding, that it's worth, again, those painful moments and everything that comes in between.
Well, yeah, and I credit DDP Yoga a lot too. If I could throw a little plug in for them,
definitely.
Because DDP Yoga is what got me back. You know what I mean? I had injuries that and credit to Mark Marrow, who's I is a phenomenal guy and I consider a friend. And he'd gone through. We had similar injuries, and seeing all these guys coming through it, it was a no-brainer. So I mean, credit to DDP Yoga for keeping me going, getting me back. But yeah, I mean, look, it's, you can't, there's no, I hate to be corny, but there's no supplement for hard work and dedication, and the business is what you make it. Yeah. There's a lot of things that are not fair, but neither is life. You know what I mean? So you have to if you have a dream, you have a passion, you just can't stop. And I have respect for Marty and Pancakes for that. They're still going. Out of everybody in our class that thought they were going to be the next Rock in Austin, we're the only three that are still doing it. And we had a big class of a lot of guys that thought they were the next, the next big shot, or were acting like the big shot before they even were one. So, but I have respect for them for that. So don't get my little Mike Magnum promo twisted. I have a lot of respect for them.
No, definitely.
But at the end of the day, if I walk into this match as a champion, or any match, not saying the things I'm saying and believing them wholeheartedly, then I shouldn't be doing this at all. You know what I mean? I believe that I'm going to walk in and out the champion. I believe that Vicky chose me because I was the absolute best in that locker room. If I didn't believe that, I shouldn't be doing this.
Definitely. No, and again, that's part of the job here. That's making sure that you are going in, again, at your top shape, at your top feeling of it. Again, having that hunger to be ready and confident to say what you're saying. And again, it's not just the promo here. It's, again, saying your words and meaning it. So that's the best thing as well. And again, also shout out to in the chat. We got Everything Pro Wrestling. That's a good buddy of ours. Conrad, how's it going, brother? Thank you for watching. But also, again, I got to ask, when you're talking about that, it's that 16 years in the game and sharing that class with them, where did you get that start? I had to ask that as well. I should have asked that at the start of all this. Where did you guys get your training at?
Start training?
Yeah.
Well, so we started training, and this is no disrespect to, I don't want to sound unappreciative, but I don't really, I prefer not to give credit to the people that were training, at that time. And there's reasons for that. And we don't have enough time to jump into it, but we all started training together. There was this situation where there was an opportunity to get some free training, which at the time, I didn't come up with like rich parents or, or the ability to, travel and the expenses that would cost. And a lot of guys didn't, and they still made it work. And I will respect them, but it's just, for me, it wasn't at that time something I considered a possibility. So I got that free training, learned how to, learn the basics, right? How to run the ropes, how to take bumps, simple, basic psychology. They put on some cool shows that had a lot of people there, and it was great, an opportunity for exposure. So I appreciate all of that, but I'd prefer to not really,
Yeah, no
credit
problem.
any of the, yeah, and
Definitely.
I don't want to say it was a self-made thing either, because I my faith believes that God kind of,
Yeah.
he had the path, and he all I had to do was just follow him, and I didn't always do that, but he had a calling on my life. But we all got started in the same situation, and then it was just up to us when that whole thing closed down, and we kind of got our backs turned on us, to either go out and keep pursuing it and build our brand, or give
Yeah.
up. And a lot of guys gave up, and the three of us, we kept doing it.
Gotcha. No, definitely. And again, that's why I asked because, like I said, 16 years in this, it isn't the easiest thing because moments like that happen. And again, a lot of real life gets involved.
Yeah.
So to hear you be able to continue to do this, and all three of you, again, congratulations as well to your opponents. Though again, you're showing that hunger is a little more in you. So again, no slouch to them as well. Pancakes, I've gotten to see around Marty Flames as
No,
well.
they're
So
slouches.
hey, there you go. He said it, not me. Again, if you're listening, these are not the views of Raven Sanchez. Just get to him on Saturday. That's all. No, but definitely. So I got to ask as well. Again, we're talking about Full Faith Wrestling. We're talking about that being champion at the moment there. But again, we're in 2022. Luckily, things are starting to look a little better as far as things opening up again and events happening
Yeah.
more and more. Where would you say you have your sights on, if any, for 2022? Where would you like to see Mike Magnum end up in wrestling this year?
Oh man, anywhere. I mean, I listen. I love this. So anywhere. I mean, I've been, keeping my sights set on Full Faith Wrestling and AEW, and any opportunities that open up, there. And right now, I think my main focus outside of, the big leagues is Full Faith. I mean, I love NYWC, and there's a lot of great, independent companies out there that I'd love to work for. But, my sights right now on the independent side of things is Full Faith.
Got you. No, definitely. And again, that's a lot to hold right there because again, you guys have a stacked roster, and again, that's always ever changing. That's the best thing about the independents that you never know who could possibly be there this month, who could be there next month, and also when you have championship gold, you never know who could step up to you. So I
Right.
can imagine you have again a plate full already.
Oh
So
yeah.
and
I
also
mean,
with,
and there's a wild card there in Glacier too. I mean, we don't
oh,
know what he's going to
that's also
do.
I was going to bring up again. I
Yeah.
was going to bring up he also is hosting the seminar, which I believe by now should be it's at capacity, correct for the
There's
seminar.
like, I think, three spots
Okay,
left, two or three spots left, but
got you.
I'm sure they'll fill up quick. I mean, it's a no brainer. Anybody that says they're they want to be a wrestler or
Yeah.
whatever, and they're not a part of this seminar, should reevaluate that. Because
Yeah.
listen, this is a guy who works alongside, and listen, I'm not putting words in his mouth. We did a podcast recently, and he
Yeah.
said himself, why in the world, if you check all the boxes, would I, with the people that I work alongside and QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes, why would I not want to bring your stuff there? Why would I not want to say, hey, look, this guy might be worth, taking a look at, and be able to say he discovered that person, But the thing is what's tough is there's been so many seminars, that have kind of, I would say, maybe disappointed or fallen short of what people expected, that, sometimes guys are a little bit, on the fence about doing seminars when you hear the word seminar. But this is a seminar and an evaluation. So he's not just teaching, if he was just teaching, it'd be worth every cent,
It's
because the
still yeah,
the
definitely still
guy
is.
is a wealth of knowledge. And outside of that, I mean, he's evaluating. He's doing something he doesn't have to do, in wanting to see what guys got. He loves the business. He just wants to see guys that deserve it and have earned it and worked for it get opportunity. And honestly, from within the business, guys should know $75 for that kind of opportunity is chump change. I
No, yeah,
mean,
it
a
really is a
lot of
steal.
people
When I
have to
saw that, I
uproot
was
their
like,
entire life
yeah,
and move somewhere else and drop thousands to get that opportunity. So, I mean, anybody that's listening that's within the business, aspiring in the business, or whatever, and is on the fence, or just is the first time hearing about it, it's something you should really think about. Because even if you're like, look, there's no way, I just don't have the skills yet to be getting that kind of a look, you're going to get priceless knowledge that you're never going to get anywhere else. So, and that's not me trying to sell it. This is his deal. I'm just hosting it. You know what I
no,
mean?
definitely. And no, and I when I saw that, I was like, one, just hearing again, it's Glacier. Again, if you
Yeah.
know his history, especially not only with the stuff with AEW, but also that's vast knowledge of sharing that locker room in WCW. Again, the paths that he crossed, the guys that he got to talk with and pick their brains. Imagine you're getting all that knowledge. Again, that is a steal of a price because when I see seminars, it's usually a lot more than just the $75 range.
Yeah.
So hearing that again, it's a steal. Again, for those local, this is also in that tri-state area. A lot
Yeah,
of these times, again, like you mentioned, it is that travel to get to have seminars like this.
yeah,
So, and also it's that evaluation. Again, you never know if again your name could be dropped. That's always what you want in this business is to have your name in those conversations.
yeah,
When again, opportunities like that are available. Again,
yeah.
you could be that next guy that hey featured on Dark next week on
Yeah, well, I mean,
Elevation.
there's no guarantees of that, but if you check all the boxes, well, like, why in the
It,
world would
it's
you not?
it's taking that first step. You never
Right,
know.
right.
Again, we all have to put like the company is it's putting that faith in opportunities like this.
Right.
So that's always what you want to hear. So I gotta ask again before I let you go, Mike, because I don't want to take too much more of your time here. Uh, when it comes down to all this, what's the end goal for you
In wrestling,
in wrestling in life, whichever you prefer to answer?
the end goal is I honestly I've tried throughout my life a lot to do things like what you just said. Think about what the end goal is. Think about what I want, and just being completely transparent and honest. I have no freaking clue what I want. Every time I think I know what I want, I'm either dead wrong or I wanted that, but the route that it was supposed to take to get there or the timing of it, I had no clue that I needed to wait or that I needed to go a certain route or path. So honestly, my goal every single day is just, and now from the faith aspect of things, is to walk the walk and just walk my walk, follow, what I feel like my path is, what I'm called to do, and to just listen, you know what I mean? And not so much try to think for myself or think I know better or think I know what I want or what I need. I'm just going to go about the feelings I get of where I need to go, what I want to do, and whatever happens is what's supposed to happen and what's meant to happen. And I just kind of follow that, you know, to sound again super tacky and corny, but like, look, Jesus, take the wheel. I don't.
No, and
I'm
I
good.
definitely I like
I'm
that.
gonna work hard.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pursue my dreams in wrestling, and whatever God wants or whatever God has for me, I'm happy. What do I want? I want to be, the most successful wrestler in the world and a multi-time AEW world champion. That's what I want. But is that what's supposed to happen for my life? I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm good. I'm happy with whatever comes next. I've got a great wife, I've got great kids, I got a home, I got everything I could ask for. So for me at this stage, I'm just, I'm happy to be able to still be wrestling, to still be able to walk, to still be able to go to the gym, to still be able to, you know, have matches, do everything. Man, it's hard for me to look at life that way anymore. I kind of just do what I got to do. As long as I have the opportunity to have a dream and live it, I'm just going to do that and see where it takes me. And I'm happy no matter what happens, honestly.
No, that's great. And again, I like to ask that question because it always has a different answer depending on the person. And I love that answer because it is a good way to look on it. I'm very similar with that. I like to say, hey, whatever is going to happen, it happens. There's already that path that we're going to be on. So that is great to hear that answer. And again, like I said, we don't know. One day we could be here. We're talking this week. Next week, who knows? You could be back in that same area of AEW.
I
You never
always
know.
say every morning I try to, and sometimes I don't. I don't get the opportunity to do it, but I always try to. I put out a tweet every day that says, "Live today, so that if tomorrow comes, you're ready, and if it doesn't, you're satisfied." So that's really that's my like every day. If tomorrow comes, awesome. I'm great. I'm ready for it. That's great, and I'm grateful for it. If it doesn't, I want to make sure that every single second I'm here, I'm making it count. Whether it's with my kids, with my family, and I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but my goal every day is to just be the best person I can be the best version of me, and do what I feel like God wants me to do.
Got you. No, and that's amazing, and that's again, the best way to live it. That's definitely a way to make sure you are uh, grateful with every day, and also again having that positive outlook to
And
make
more
sure
often than
you
not,
are.
I mess it up, but I do the
Yeah.
best I can.
Hey, and that's already winning half the battle right there. Trying your best at it, and again, that's the great thing. So again, guys, you're gonna want to be there this Saturday. Go check out Full Fave Wrestling. It's an amazing show. Ticket link is also gonna be down below. And
Thank you.
also, Mike, let them know where they can find you. Links are also going to be down below as well, but just let them know for your social handles and all that
Yeah,
great
thank you.
stuff.
Everything's Artist Magnum,
Gotcha.
Instagram and Twitter. That's all I have. And then Pro Wrestling Tees /SA Mike Magnum for any of that stuff. And yeah, for the show, just be there. The VIP meet and greet is going to be Cesar Bernone, Glacier, and he'll be having some cool stuff. He's bringing some of his micro brawlers,
Ooh,
but he's
those
only
are always cool.
bringing 10, and he'll sign them. But it's got to be the first 10 people that ask.
There you go.
And myself and Joe Ocasio as well will be a part of the meet and greet. And you can only meet Glacier at the meet and greet section. So if
Yeah.
you want to meet Glacier, get a picture, get an autograph, whatever, you have to do it at the meet and greet. And yeah, other than that, the show's going to be great. The meet and greet's 5:30 to 6:30. General admission doors open at 6:30. Show starts at 7. And it's going to be a great night. We'll be doing a raffle. We'll be giving away Full Faith T-shirts, some Vicky Guerrero autographs, some Glacier autographs.
There you go.
So there'll be some stuff to raffle off. It's going to be
Yeah.
a good time. And yeah, we're going to be rocking and rolling, man. I'm happy. I'm excited. And I hope to see everybody there. You going to be there?
I'm definitely going to try to make it out. Definitely
right.
try to make it out to be there. Because again, it sounds like a great night. It's looking like a great night. So definitely, again, guys, go check it out. All the links, especially the ticket link, will be down below as well. Thank you, Mike, for joining us. This has been a great conversation. As always, guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe, share the podcast, and let everyone know about the great conversations here. So as always, don't forget to be wise, be genuine, be real, be better people. And as always, respect the craft. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.